Good morning. I haven't been on here on a Sunday in a while. It's been a minute. Was I on here last Sunday? I don't think I was I? I don't remember. But anyway, good morning. Sunday chat time. She went ahead and decided that she doesn't really want to do the farmer's market at all while it's hot outside. So now we're free on Sundays. I ain't gonna lie, I'm waking up pretty slow. Waking up very slow. Ugh. Like I was saying the other day, I'm just getting used to the funky dream world that I go into, but it makes it very difficult to wake up. What's up, people? Howdy doody. Waking up slow, and my back is bothering me still. I ran on it yesterday morning. As soon as I got off here, I went down there and ran. But my back's still bugging me too. You might want to get you some sleep. Matthew. I can't do that. I can't do all that now. I remember them good old days though. Man, I remember them good old days. Yep. Fuck that. But you know what? I do miss the waking up on a schedule. That's why I have my life constructed right now, so that I have things to do, you know? Because, I always thought, and I'm guessing that a lot of people think this, because I've heard a lot of people say this, but that we want, our goal in life is to eventually get to this utopian, I don't have to do anything. Kick my feet back and just not do nothing, and that was what I was living by for the longest time, and that was my goal. And then when I finally got it, I realized that's not what I wanted, not what I wanted at all. I don't know where that idea comes from. I don't know where that brainwashing or that programming stems from. I think it might have something to do with the fact that we're pretty much brought up to believe that we have to work, and then one of these days you get to retire, and that programming sets it in our mind that one of these days, at some point, we're gonna get to kick our feet back and be lazy and do nothing. Well, I don't know if you've ever met any old people who have retired, but sometimes it's not uncommon at all for an old person to retire and be like, I'm fucking bored. I want to go back to work, That's what my grandpa did. And that's the way I kind of began to think whenever I reached a point where I live life on my own terms, Started driving me nuts, man. I was like, man, I have got to have things to do. I've got to have a reason to wake up in the morning. I've got to have a schedule. I like waking up to an alarm clock and have something I have to do in the morning, So I did move my gym to the afternoon, but I still have to wake up and get the kids ready for school in the morning, or while they get ready. I just sit in here and bullshit on my phone until it's time to take them to the bus stop. But anyway, I remember them good old days. I've been saying, and I said this, and I think a lot of people have probably said something similar to this, that if I could have a day job that pays me as good as what I do, I would probably work a day job, man. If it paid as much as I make now, if it did, but if day jobs paid that good, nobody would be struggling. And we're eventually gonna get there, y'all. I know you hear me say this, and I think a lot more of you are in the know than I may assume, because I think a lot more people are in the know. You know what I mean? A lot of people are waking up, but we are headed there. But it's not really like with the new. I'm under the impression, based on everything that I've learned about the new system that's coming to be, is that you're not really going to make money for the work you do. Not really. It's kind of complicated because the new system reads you, it knows you, and it doesn't pay you based on hours of your life doing a monotonous job. It pays you based on what's in your heart and the service that you provide to humanity. You know what I mean? From what I've gathered, I'm no expert on it. So I'm not 100% sure. But that's kind of the picture that I'm painting in my mind. Yeah, humanity based. Yeah, yeah. hmm But I mean, that does kind of leave me to wonder. What about all the other little bullshit jobs then? What about the cooks and the restaurants and the waiters and the waitresses and all the little bullshit jobs? What about that? That's Hey, I'm gonna tell you what. If the restaurant industry crashed, I wouldn't be upset. I don't like eating out. You know what I mean? That's one thing that I'm looking forward to is the day that we realize that you eat to keep your body alive, not to entertain your taste buds. You know what I mean? I think that's one huge programming that has to be undone from the minds of humans. You eat to keep yourself alive and keep yourself nourished, not to entertain your taste buds. So yeah, maybe the restaurant industry will crash. You know what I mean? Maybe robots will do the. Yeah, maybe I could see that. I could see that maybe, but maybe some of those industries will crash. McDonald's, come on, man. We have this conversation every now and then. If could you imagine if over a period of about a month, McDonald's was infiltrated, bought off, sold off, and they flipped all their ingredients around and made all their food very, very healthy somehow, or at least not nearly as toxic to the point. You know what I mean? You think anybody would trust it? You think anybody would trust it? That's what I'm thinking now. How are we gonna shift? Because right now we don't fucking trust nothing. Those of us that are awake don't trust nothing. I don't trust nothing on the fucking news. I don't trust nothing. I don't trust nothing mainstream. Nothing. Nothing. Period. How are we gonna get that trust back? How are we gonna learn to get that trust back and start actually believing? When all the dark forces are finally just stomped out and the little minions aren't running around anymore, how are we gonna get that trust back? When even us, those of us, when are we gonna be like, oh, okay, I trust this here? You see what I'm saying? When are we gonna get to that point? These are things that I think about all the time. These are things that I think about. We're getting to the point, like even Leah, we have this conversation every day. It's like, I don't trust nothing. Don't trust nothing. Don't trust nobody on the news. No, we don't even watch TV. I mean, we have a TV in our room that she'll watch like a little show sometimes before we go to bed at night, but we don't have a TV downstairs. There's a TV never on. We don't trust anything that comes through the damn TV, nothing, period. So at what point are we gonna trust anything that anybody has to say out there? When you see, I don't know, man, where I'm going with this, but yeah, these are just some of the things that I think about. Just some of the things that I think about, man. Because eventually, at some point, whenever this war is over, when are we gonna shift our focus? How? I don't know. I can't wrap my mind around it, but I hear people say that even those of us who are awake and aware will have our minds blown. I'm trying to picture that, but again, I teach all day, every day that you can't logically figure out something that you've never experienced before, but that's still part of me. That's still part of my human ego nature, is that I'm trying to picture it and wrap my mind around it and figure it out. But I can't even wrap my mind around it, because there's a lot of us out there that think, oh yeah, nothing surprises. And I say that all the time. Man, nothing surprises me. No, nothing. You could tell me nothing surprises me when it comes to the bullshit lies we've been told and the programming and all this. Nothing surprises me, and it doesn't. But they say that even those of us who think like that, our minds will be blown. So I'm kind of anxious to see if my mind can be blown. Anyway, I know we don't really flirt with those paths here. I don't know though. Have you noticed? I was telling Leah this yesterday. I've been noticing a lot more things surfacing on social media that probably wouldn't have been able to 6 months ago. You know what I mean? I have been. I've been seeing that a lot, I've been seeing that a lot. But whatever. Until I get any rock solid evidence that I'm safe to speak about those things, I'm not. I'm not. Nope. I'm not. Not on here. Not on here. I do have that Telegram channel that I've talked about a couple of things on there. Talked about a couple of things, but that's if you want to really hear my total openness, it's on there. I'll put little things up on there every now and then. But anyway, going back away from that subject. Anywho. Yeah, the earth is transitioning. It is. It is. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I knew it the minute I knew it. I knew it. I already knew. Because like for me it was a little bit strange. My awakening journey really began, like, I'm not going to tell the whole story. A lot of you know. For those of you who don't know, it began after I climbed up out from under a bridge and was pretty much my whole life got ripped away from me. Everything got stripped away from me. I lived under a bridge for 6 months. And then I turned myself into a homeless shelter and started slowly making baby steps back into a brand new version of me. That the version of me that had been built up to that point got stripped away. The universe ripped everything away from me. And I was left with nothing, and then slowly started making little baby steps back into who you see today from under a bridge. And right there at the beginning, I started being introduced to this idea. It was very, very foreign to me, and I didn't really understand what light worker meant or any of this stuff. But I started hearing about manifestation, and it rung a bell. Fuck, I just spent 6 months living under a bridge, eating out of a trash can, drinking a gallon of vodka a day, living in homeless communities. You think that I didn't want to be there? I hear some shit that I can manifest a big badass life, and you don't think I'm gonna? Oh fucking A, man! Really? Are you serious? I'm gonna try it. So it began to awaken this thing inside of me that was just burned like a fire, and I'm supposed to do something. I don't know what. And then I started becoming more familiarized with the idea that the planet is shifting in dimensions, and this is years down the path. And I knew it as soon as the clock struck 2020 and this stupid bullshit started popping off. I knew it. This is the beginning. This is the split. This is it right now. I knew it. I already knew. And there's some of you, I don't know how many of you are still following me who were following me back then, but I made mention of that a couple of times. But yep, I believe so too. Absolutely. The biggest thing, and I was explaining I've explained this to a few people in readings before, that the biggest thing that we can do right now, this is the most frustrating thing that nobody wants to hear, but the biggest thing you can do right now is put your trust and faith in the universe or source or God or whatever you want to call it. That's the biggest thing that you can do. Okay, because this right here is testing your trust in the universe. This right here is. We all say that we do. We all say, oh, I trust the universe and whoop-de-whoop. And then when you're put in a position where you have no sense of foresight and the ego can't picture what's going on, then all of a sudden you realize you don't trust it as much as you thought you did. You don't trust it as much. The ego tries to take control and gets all freaked out and scared. And, oh my God, what's happening? Oh, okay. We go into a state of damage control, The biggest thing you can do right now is release and give your trust to the process, to the universe. And that doesn't mean just, sit back in an armchair and not take any action. But does it make sense? See what I'm saying? Play your part, play whatever part you were called to do. Okay, I think that, I know every last one of us light workers was called to do something. We were called to do something. Yep, pretty annoying process though. But I feel it. Fucking hey, I feel it. I feel the frequencies of the planet getting higher and higher. Whew. It's weird, man. I can feel it. You can feel it through your body, and it's like, You know, I want to get out and do something, but I feel fucking weird and funky, and my body feels like it's vibrating, and I feel butterflies in my stomach, and I'm like, I feel weird. And I don't drink alcohol anymore. Used to, I would drink alcohol to kind of numb that down. And I don't do that no more. Don't do that no more. But you just gotta sit back and deal with it, you know? It's annoying as hell. But the thing about it is a change in frequency has to happen slow and gradual. It has to happen slow and gradual. And this isn't even no mystical talk. I'm not mystical. No. This is like straight up science. If your body tries to shift vibration too fast, it'll kill it. It'll kill it. Why do you think so many, like a bunch of us light workers? How many of you out there? And this isn't like a guaranteed telltale, but if you've been wondering, am I a light worker? Am I a volunteer? Here's a good way to figure out. If you're asking that question and your mother miscarried the first kid before you came in, that's very highly likely that was your first attempted incarnation, and the energy was too high to survive in a human body. Yeah. I heard that and I'm like, no fucking way, because that's what happened with my mom. Before I came along, my mom got pregnant and miscarried. You know. And like I said, no blank, but chances are, if you're asking yourself that question, you know, I don't know. I don't feel right here. This does not feel like home. Nothing about this place feels right. You know, nothing about anything. I've never fit into anything. If you're, chances are you're a volunteer. You're carrying a frequency to raise the frequencies of the planet. And again, just another good telltale sign is that if your mom miscarried her first pregnancy before you came in, because the energy was too high. The energy was too high. And more than likely, now this is where it gets really deep and convoluted. This is where it gets real deep. More than likely, typically, you have to agree to a certain level of trauma. Okay? Because your frequency has to remain low enough to survive in a human body. The energy signature is very foreign and very funky, but the vibration itself has to be low enough to survive in the human body, you know? So that you can actually acclimate to being in a human meat suit, you know? So trauma is that's the best way to get your frequency down, is trauma. You know, you're like a snowball. When you first pop out into this matrix, you're experiencing traumas and things like that, and you're just like a snowball. It just collects on you. Vibrational baggage, it collects and gets bigger and bigger and bigger, you know? And then eventually we're put through a period of shedding some of that, you know? But anyway, though, yeah, I don't remember where I was going with that exactly, but yeah. I guarantee there's at least one of you watching that's thought about this, you know? So, long story short, this is where I was going with this. Long story short, in order for everything to shift vibrations, it's slow. It's a slow process. We all want it to snap and happen overnight, but if that happened like that, it would kill everybody on the planet. It wouldn't work anyway, you know? It's got to slowly, gradually move up in vibration. And as the planet does that, you follow along with it. You know, they both happen in tandem, and it feels funky. You'll feel weird, heart doing weird things, hot flashes, fucking weird nervous twitchies, and your nervous system is twitching and shit like that, you know? You ever do that? Be laying there, and then just all of a sudden your arm goes like that, and you're like, what the fuck? You know, does it happen? Happens to me all the time. Happens to me all the time. Yeah, we right smack dab in the middle of it, though, man. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. We gonna make it. We gonna make it. Yep. Yeah. I get all twitchy too. It's weird, man. I hate talking like this, but I really don't like the way it feels. I don't like it. you know? And you can always feel it too. You can look at the Schumann resonance. I don't like the way it feels. I don't. To me, I kind of envy, well, maybe these people are lying and bullshitting, because there's so many people in the spiritual community and on a spiritual journey who they seem to have a very, very ooh la 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 positive outlook about every little thing, and there's a part of me that just kind of thinks they might be full of shit. Because nobody likes to talk about the dark parts of spirituality and evolution and ascension. To me, I don't think changing frequencies is fun. I don't think so. I've never really experienced shifting from this frequency to this frequency and just being like, ooh yeah, la la la, light shining down, and then I'm just dancing the whole way from one frequency to the next. It's always real uncomfortable and weird, like I'm having panic attacks and hot flashes and my heart's fluttering and my body's twitching. It doesn't feel comfortable to me, Doesn't feel comfortable to me. I don't know, man. Maybe that's just me. But that's been my experience up to this point. Now, maybe I'm open to one of these days whenever it becomes a little bit more enjoyable as the old 3D paradigm crumbles more and more and more. Maybe it will start to become more and more enjoyable, but breaking out of the old energies is weird. It's weird and it's uncomfortable, It's weird to me, I think. I think it's weird. Yeah, and I've heard a lot of people concur with me. Like I said, I could be wrong, but I immediately just think that if you're talking like the whole spiritual journey is rainbows, unicorn farts, and light shining down, I think you're full of shit. I don't believe you. I just honestly don't believe you. I think you're putting on a show. That's just me. I could be wrong. I'd gladly take it on the chin if you could prove me wrong, but I don't believe it. When people act like that, I'm like, you are full of shit. You're pandering to your audience. You're pandering to the audience. I'm not scared of pissing people off. I don't know if you figured that out about me or not. I don't care. I'm not going to go out of my way like to try to make you angry. I'm a king of swords. You know what I mean? I'm a king of swords. When you're a king or a queen of swords, you speak the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. There's a lot of people out there who are living a lie. So when you present evidence that's threatening to their little belief box, that's going to piss some people off. There's too many people out there that pander to their audience. Too many, way too many. And I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid of mean, angry comments. I'm not afraid of trolls. I'm not afraid of you attacking. I don't give a fuck about it. You know how bullied I was when I was a kid? I grew up actually bullied, like in real life, like bullied, ganged up on, and pushed and kicked and had shit. You know what I mean? Like growing up, I had it like really, really rough. Real life bullies, not this little online horse shit. You know what I mean? People call you names. Fuck that. You know what I'm saying, man? So that's why when I speak it, I'll tell you how it really is. It's gonna piss some people off. Oh fucking well. I really don't care. I'm gonna tell you how it is, man. It's not all rainbows, unicorn farts, and light shining down. That ain't the way it works. Nope, sorry, I don't believe you if you say it is. Don't believe you. I don't believe you. And it's okay though. It's okay. It's all good. Because one of the things that I've learned on my journey is that it seems to me like people respect when you connect with them on a way that I don't feel any different than you. When you connect to people on a way that when I talk and I make analogies and I start explaining things, I do it to almost anybody can link up to it and understand it. Like you resonate with that because we're all the same, man. We're all the same. Every last one of us, So from what I've seen, it looks like people respect that more than those people that put on this show. I mean, and I got caught in that trap when I was on my path. Yeah. On my path, I definitely got caught in that trap of, I want to follow this person. I want to listen to their spiritual advice. But man, it just seems like they're way up on this pedestal that's so far out of my reach. And I've been there. That's one of the reasons that long before I ever could have dreamed in a million years that I'd be in the position that I'm in. I always said to myself, if I ever get the chance to be in your position, I'm gonna make my message a lot more easy to relate to and understand, you know? Now, the tough part about that is though, is you have to have 1 foot in 3D and 1 foot in 5D in order to do that. I've learned that since then. I have learned that since then. You gotta have 1 foot in 3D and 1 foot in 5D. You know? I mean, that I can't think of a more efficient way to do it. You just gotta be careful, man, because it can be draining. It can be draining as hell, you know? Have 1 foot in the 3rd dimension, 1 foot in the 5th dimension, and you just reach your hand out and be like, yo, come on. If you don't want to, then get away from me. Those of you who want, come on, you know? It can be draining. It can be very, 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 very draining. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't have a bunch of lifetimes on this planet. Not a bunch. Not a whole bunch. Not a whole bunch. Most, and this is where it's going to get kind of complicated and convoluted. Most aspects of me, this is my first time here. There's some aspects of me that have been here for about 10 lifetimes. I firmly believe that I started incarnating somewhere around the first wave, around World War II. And like I said that one time, for those of you who are here for that chat, makes perfect sense because here we are in World War III. You know, makes perfect sense. I'm like, and I had that Ace of Swords moment live. I didn't ever even thought about that before. I was like, whoa, that makes perfect sense, you know? I think a lot of us that were here for that very specific reason. You know, well, of course, there's some of you who have never been here before. You came from a totally different star system altogether, and you've never been here at all. I'm kind of inclined to believe that I may have had a lifetime or two, may have racked up a little bit of karma, maybe a little bit. There's just some things that have happened in my life that if it wasn't past life karma, it was really, really intricately planned out before I got in here. You know what I mean? That like my ex-wife, you know, I had a relationship. I dated my very first ever narcissistic woman one time, you know, like a real true narcissist, you know, not just using that name to call somebody that, you know, that name gets thrown around a lot, narcissist. And I don't just throw that word around. Like I dated a real one time, and that was a fucking nightmare. And like little things like that, I'm like, if that wasn't past life karma, it was fucking brilliant. It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, you know, in order to take me from where I was and slingshot me onto my path, you know? That's the only thing that I can think. It's the only thing I can think when looking back on some of those things. It's like, man, most of the time, whenever a lot of people, especially who come to me for readings, are dealing with situations like this, it's karma. It's past life karma. Y'all been trying to work this shit out for fucking hundreds, thousands, maybe even millions of lifetimes, you know? And I'm kind of inclined to believe that there's a couple of people in my life that I had karmic contracts with, you know? And of course, you never fucking work out. I didn't. I never worked it out. I just cut the contract because I figured out how to transmute the energy and make that happen. It kind of came like second nature to me, which is another reason why I know I haven't been here very many lifetimes, because I know a lot of the cheat codes, man. A lot of the energetic cheat codes. You know, cutting the karmic contracts, really fucking easy. It actually is really fucking easy. It's just extremely uncomfortable because it requires shedding of the ego identity. A lot of us love to identify with things that happen to us, you know? Can't do that if you're gonna cut a karmic contract. Can't do that. You know, like Dr. Joe Dispenza says it the best, man. I am this way because this thing happened to me a year ago, and I'm living one long emotional response. Can't do that if you're gonna cut a karmic contract. Can't do that. Can't do that. Can't do that. But once you figure out how to like step out of that way of thinking and identifying with this thing that happened to me and trying to figure out why this person did what they did and how could they do that, and you're so, you know what I mean? Once we shed all of that and we pop away from it and we say, all right, so this thing happened to me 5 months ago or 6 months ago or a year ago, okay, and it generated an energy that is now mine. I'm now holding this energy that was created between me and this person. It generated an energy. And I'm energetically tied to this person, obviously. You know what I mean? I can't quit fucking thinking about them and recreating this in my mind over and over and over. What can I do with this energy? Well, this is where we get to go into other realms and we get to play around with this energy. And this is where we get to pop away from time, space. I don't know what aspect of you does that, if it's your astral body or what, but I get to pop out of this dimension and jump timelines. Yeah, because before we get, you know, the future, the amount of possible scenarios that are playing out in the future are just mind-bogglingly, seemingly infinite. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take my consciousness and I'm going to jump to the timeline that I want. And I'm going to kind of reel my physical body down the timelines from that point. So what does that mean? What that means is, here's this energy, here's this person, maybe, for example, I fell in love with somebody and they cheated on me and broke up with me or something like that. And here I am, hurt, angry, betrayed, and heartbroken. That's the energy that I'm holding. Hurt, anger, betrayal, heartbreak. All right. So I'm going to jump ahead to the timeline where I am incredibly fucking successful. It's out there. I know it's out there. So I'm going to go ahead with my consciousness. I'm going to pop away from my body and I'm going to go to that timeline real quick. And I'm going to start envisioning what it would feel like to be looking back on this as if it was a blessing in disguise. And I'm going to keep recreating that feeling. Anytime I start thinking about that thing that person did to me that hurt so bad, I'm immediately going to the future, into that timeline where I'm incredibly fucking successful. And I'm so thankful that that thing happened to me. And I'm recreating that feeling in my heart. I'm having this conversation. Unbeknownst time in the future, I don't know when, a year from now, 2 years from now. And I'm creating this feeling that I'm having a conversation. And I'm talking about this thing. And I'm so thankful that it happened. Man, dude, you wouldn't believe it. You would not believe it. A year ago or 2 years ago or whatever, I fell in love with this woman and she fucked my best friend and lied to me. And dude, it ripped my fucking heart out. But you know what? You'll never believe what happened. I wouldn't be here today if that thing hadn't happened because it taught me what I need, you know, and I'm running through that feeling in my mind of imagining that it's a blessing in disguise. And not only am I healed from what that person did to me, but I'm so thankful that it happened that I wouldn't go back and change it even if you put a time machine in front of me. You know what I mean? That's where I'm going in my mind. I'm recreating having that conversation. And I started doing this years ago, okay? When I very first started hearing about, you mean time and space are illusions? Are you serious? Okay. I think I could probably use that to my advantage then, you know? I always end up having that conversation. Always. Always. Always, 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 always. Every time. Every time. It pulls those timelines forward by default. It does. It does. It's like you take your astral body or whatever. I don't even know. I don't know the names of your etheric body, astral. I don't even know about none of that shit. But you take one of those aspects of you and put it on that timeline and start creating and connecting to that feeling and that existence that exists out there, and you start creating it and you start connecting with it. It's just like reeling yourself down those timelines, you know? And then by the time you get there and you have that Ace of Swords moment, dude, oh, now I see why that happened. That happened so that this would happen. You release and let go of that energy by default. You don't even have to try. You don't even have to try. You don't have to try. Once you see with complete and utter clarity why that thing happened, and you're the one that creates it, You're the one that has the power to assign a meaning to anything you experience in life. You're the one that does that. You're the one that does that. Whatever you believe the meaning of that experience was, that's what the meaning is. That's how powerful your mind is. If you believe you are just the victim of this horrible thing that happened to you and life is out to get you and beat you down and oppress you, you're absolutely fucking right. That's exactly what it means. Because you believe it. That's how powerful you are. That's how powerful you are. You're the one that does that. But if I choose to believe that this thing didn't happen to me, it happened for me, I'm absolutely fucking right. That's what I'm going to experience. And I remember having a conversation with somebody one time who was going through something incredibly traumatic, you know. And my heart to this day goes out to her, you know, incredibly traumatic. And she kind of started getting a little bit defensive. Like, I cannot imagine, I can't wrap my mind around how this would be happening for me. And I was like, I know, a lot of times you can't, you know, a lot of times you can't. That's the point. Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to get to a place where we are living an experience that's unlike anything that we've ever experienced before. Okay? And this is what energy transmutation consists of. Does that make sense? A lot of times you can't imagine why right now. You have to give it up. Okay, universe, I trust you. I trust you. If it's out of my control, it's part of the plan. I don't know why. I can't figure it out. The harder I try to figure it out, the more it works and battles against me. So you know what? Okay, I trust that one of these days, universe, you're going to show me why this happened. I can't wait until that day gets here. And the minute you agree to release it and give it up and say, okay, I trust that this happened for a very specific reason. I don't know about you, but I always end up seeing that reason every single time. You just have to be very, very, very open-minded and willing to let go of your identity. Willing to let go of your identity. I am this way because this thing happened to me. You got to let go of that. That's hard. That's really, really hard. It's really easy to get addicted to identifying with our traumas. You know what I mean? Very, very easy. And I get it. Do you have any idea how much trauma I experienced on my journey? I've told y'all a couple things. You know, about my little suicide attempts. And I talk about it and play it lightly, but it was very, very dark. Very, 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 very dark and cryptic, you know. I've experienced loads of trauma. I'm no different than you, you know. But I am also living proof of what can happen if you let go of identifying with that trauma. That's not who you are, you know. I'm living proof of it. And like there's been traumas that I set out to heal from this thing that happened to me. And I think probably one of the most traumatic things that happened to me in my adult life took me 7 years to heal from. Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah, I've experienced some shit, you know, but I'm the proof. Not just me. There's a lot of other people out there who have cracked this little simple key. And it's nothing, I'm not giving you new information at all. This isn't new. I didn't make any of it up. The only thing that I'm doing is I'm shining light on it because these truths and these perspectives and these ways of dealing with energy have been very hidden and suppressed. Very hidden and suppressed. You know, they, in quotes, capital they want you to identify with your traumas. They want you to keep manifesting situations in which you are a poor, pitiful, helpless victim. They desperately depend on you doing that, okay? Because the minute you stop doing that and the minute you understand how much power you actually have over your own heart, mind, and your entire life experience, their whole game is over. The whole game crumbles. They have no control over you whatsoever. None. Absolutely none. Yeah. And that's what people like me, I'm not the only one doing it, but us light workers, that's what we're here to shine light on. This is the truth right here. Boo! This is how it really works. This is how it really functions. This is how it really operates. And trust me, they are very aware of this. Oh, believe they are very aware of this. I've met people who are connected to them on the inside. And they've taught me a thing or two about energy and the way it behaves. Don't ever for a fucking split second think that they don't know how any of this functions and operates. They know exactly how this functions and operates, and they manipulate you into using it against yourself. Not no more though. Not no more though. Not with people like me and all the other light workers. I know there's probably a bunch of you watching. Not with us. Here's shining light on the truth. The true nature of how powerful you are. Not no more. We're in the age of Aquarius now. We are in the age of Aquarius. The age of universal knowledge and understanding. The age of truth coming to light. That's where we are now. What? That's where we is. So anyway, that was a fun little tangent to go on. That's the goal. That's the goal, is to end up finding an empowering tangent on these chats. That's my intention by doing this. Doesn't always happen. Sometimes we just sit here and shoot the shit and babble about meaningless shit for an hour, but that's the goal. Because if I know that at least one person's going to hear something that I say and completely transform their life, you know, that's the goal. We're getting there, y'all. We're getting there, man. It's annoying. I don't like it any more than you. Oh, trust me. Oh, no. I don't like it any more than you, but we're getting there. So, anywho, probably going to be on here for about another 10, 15, 20 minutes, something like that. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. An hour does go quick. It's not quite been an hour yet, though. It's been 40 minutes, 41, 33, 34, 35. So anyway, anywho, this is the most amazing time to be alive. But here's the fucked up thing, though. See, and like I said, I'm never in a million years gonna act like that I'm this special person who's here doing something that's never been done before. If I was saying these things back in maybe the 60s or 70s, they'd have fucking locked my ass up. Put me in a straitjacket and lock me up and labeled me fucking a nutcase. You know what I mean? I have been locked up in a psych ward. I have, but not for this. Not for this. Just for going absolutely fucking bonkers crazy because this human 3D bullshit, I could not be programmed into it, and I just went crazy. Drove me nuts, you know? But if we used to come out and say these things 20, 30, 40 years ago, oh hell yeah. They would lock your ass up and drug you, put you on a bunch of drugs, stick you in a straitjacket, and call you nuts. Because that's when they actually had control. A lot more fucking control than they have now, you know? They've overplayed their hand now. Too many people are waking up. And it can't be stopped. Nope. Spreading like a wildfire, boy. Spreading like a wildfire, boy. It's awesome, too. It's cool. That's why, if there's one thing I could leave you with, and I know I say this sometimes, some of you have heard me say this many times, but don't focus all of your energy on those who are still asleep. Do you have any idea how many people are awake now? You know we're in the majority, right? The vast fucking majority. We are. It's just that it seems silent because they want us to be silent. They want to silence us, but it's not working. Not working. It's like, here's this forest. It's on fire over here. Look over here. Look over here. Don't look at that great awakening wildfire that's catching and getting bigger. Look over here, you know? Trust and believe. We are awakening. Trust and believe that because it's the truth. Look out there. You have any idea? Blew my mind, too. Blew my mind. Because like I assumed that when the clock struck 2020, I thought that everybody was already awake anyway. You know, it was a slap in the face to me to see how asleep the planet was at that point. You know, it was it scared, y'all don't know how bad I was scared. Boy, it scared the hell out of me. Oh, I was like, no, y'all are not this asleep. It can't be. You know? Oh, it scared me, dude. Scared the hell out of me. Thankfully, though, it's taken a year and a half now, but thankfully, people aren't that stupid. Thankfully. I was like, oh, God, thank you. Thank you. Because everybody's waking up now, man. Everybody. Now, when I say waking up, I've told you all this before, but I'm not even just talking about finally figuring out that everything you were taught was a lie. That's not even what I'm talking about. That's part of it. That's part of it. That's when the little eggshell first cracks, you know, first little cracks in the eggshell, you know, and you kind of, that's the very first, you know, your eyes just barely opening and everything's still fuzzy and hazy and you gotta click, you know, that's the first part of the awakening process. You know, that's not what I'm talking about, but that is a necessary part of it. That is a big necessary part of it, you know, and that at least as long as we got, you know, the vast majority of people on the planet going through that, you know, then we're in good hands, man. We're in good hands. It's all good. It's one thing you will never, ever, ever hear me do is push doom and gloom. Man, fuck that, dude. Yes, the doom and gloom shit is very, very real. The doom and gloom shit is very, very real. Okay, that was the plan. Okay, let's get over it. Let's move past that. The doom and gloom shit is very, very real, but don't sit around and focus all your energy on that. Nope. I ain't going to those timelines. I don't know about you. I ain't going to them timelines, them doom and gloom. That's the old 3D planet. Fuck that. That's not where I'm going. Nope. Absolutely not. Yeah, I couldn't be fucking programmed by any of this shit, you know? And this, like I said, man, back in the 90s, that's when I was a kid. I was born in the late 80s. I was born in 88. So I grew up in the 90s. This wasn't cool back then. It wasn't cool, you know, to not be able to, if you were unable to be programmed into the matrix, you were labeled. You know, ADHD or here's the fucked up thing about me. Nobody could ever figure out what was wrong with me. Nobody could. They had me in my first therapist's office, a psychiatrist, a child psychologist rather, I'm sorry, when I was 4. That's how long they've been trying to figure out what the hell's wrong with me. And nobody could ever figure it out. I've been to so many different psychologists, so many different therapists, so many different psychiatrists, been put on every medication in the book. You know, I was never diagnosed with anything until I was 27 years old, and I hung myself with a belt and fucking told them, I don't like this shit, I want out of here. And that's when they labeled me with depression, you know, but they could never figure out what was wrong with me, you know. I'll never forget when I was 16. I was 16 and I'd been seeing this, he was a psychologist, a clinical psychologist, and he was cool. His name was John Fidanza. I'll never forget this dude, Dr. John Fidanza. And I'll never forget the day that he sat there and he told me, well, he said, I'm having some trouble because I'm supposed to diagnose you with something. And he's like, you've been coming in and out of here for 3 months now, and I don't know what to diagnose you with. I'm like, oh, okie dokie. He's like, I'm supposed to come up with a diagnosis for you, and I can't figure out what the hell it is. He says, the only thing that I can figure out about you is that you are mentally about 20 years older than you actually are. He said, that's the only thing I can figure out about you. You have, at age 16, you have the mentality and the intellectual capacity of a 35-year-old man. He said, but I can't diagnose you with ADHD or bipolar disorder or manic depression or any of that shit. He's like, I can't figure out what to diagnose you with. And I was like, well, isn't that just fucking great? You know, at one point in time, a diagnosis would have at least made me feel like, okay, well, there's an explanation. You know, I could never even come up with an explanation for what the hell was wrong with me. The fucking psychiatrists and the shrinks and whatnot couldn't even figure it out, you know? So you talk about feeling alone and feeling like something's wrong with you, you know? When the damn, you know, psychological community and the psychiatric community can't even figure it out. What the hell am I doing here? But it makes sense now. You know what I mean? It makes sense now. I don't even think the word light worker even existed back then, you know? You know what I mean? I don't even think that was a thing back then. So, yeah, back then it wasn't cool. It wasn't cool if you couldn't be programmed into the matrix. It wasn't cool. I wanted to. I remember I would sit around and be like, How? You got to be acting. Y'all just got to be playing. You got to be playing a game. There's no way you believe and completely subscribe to all this bullshit. You know, I just became convinced that everybody was knowingly playing a game. Knowingly. That everybody, I could not let myself believe that you're really that blind. I just thought, yeah, okay, all right, so this life is a game. It's a game. Okay, cool. Right on. I can't play it. I've tried. I would try and try and try. I would try to fit in to something resembling this game, and I never could. And it was almost like the harder I tried, it felt like, now this is where I do get to sound kind of crazy, but it did kind of feel like the game was rigged against me. It did feel that way, because the harder I would try to fit in, the harder the game would fight back and fight against me, you know? Like if I got a job somewhere or whatever, and I would try to, fit in and be like I'm gonna fit in and I'm gonna be a good employee and I'm gonna go try to be a part of this group of people over here. And I was always the weird one. Nobody ever wanted anything to do with me. They're like, get the fuck away from me. Rich is a fucking weirdo. Everybody would always be laughing at me and talking about you behind my back. And like, oh, I was always that weird one. I could never fit into anything. It drove me nuts, man. I didn't understand why. I do now. I do now. I don't even fit in the tarot community. I don't even fit in the tarot community. Last I looked, like I said, I don't really know who's out there now, but last I looked, I don't even fit in the tarot community. I'm the weird one. I'm the weird fucking tarot card reader. Anyway. Tangents winding down and coming to an end. Yeah, it's good now. Now we can question these things and not be looked at as crazy. It's becoming the new norm. The new normal is questioning the programming. That's becoming the new normal now. So, yeah. I'm not gonna get diagnosed as a starseed. That's right. No. Oh yeah, you're an entity that has never really been here before. You're from a different star system or a different dimension or a different planet or something. However the fuck all that shit works, I don't even know. Or maybe they did know. Who knows? Maybe they did know that. Maybe they have all these other minions, trying to program you. And if you can't be programmed, you're shamed. You're shamed into program. I don't know, man. Oh well, I'm just glad all that shit's over. I'm glad all that shit's over. You know what I mean? Know what I mean? Dig it a mean. Know what I mean? Dig it a mean. That's cool. I appreciate the positive feedback. What's your name? Fernando? Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. We program ourselves now, though. Because that's the thing. You can't really avoid being programmed by something, But I don't know about you, but I'm the type that I have this thing in me. And it's almost like a factory setting on a computer that's in my brain. That it's like a pre-setting that any information that is completely fucking irrelevant to what I'm doing here is not allowed in here. You know what I mean? It's not allowed in here. It's almost like there's this bullshit detector that I was born with. And if it's not, because you only have room for so much information at a time, And yes, your brain does grow and expand the more it learns, and it is constantly writing and wiring new connections. But it's almost like there's this factory default setting in here to where if the information that you're trying to cram into my brain is of zero use, then it won't even allow it in. Bullshit detected. We're not allowing this information in here because there's not enough room. It's weird. I've always been that way. That's why I did so horrible in school. I was telling y'all the other day, I did terrible in school, man. Fucking horrible. And I was always in trouble. You know how many teachers would tell me when I was a kid, you are one of the most intelligent students that I've ever had. There is no reason why you're failing my class. You're an underachiever, you know? I would be in so much trouble. Where this kid sitting next to me has got grades just like mine. Oh, but it's okay. Because you're smart. He's not. You know what I mean? Like, I was always singled out. You know, any other kids would start doing bad in school and whatnot, and oh, it's okay. Let's just take you and put you in the special class. But not me. Not me. They wouldn't put me in no special class. They said I was too smart to be failing. You know, and it's just I cannot read any kind of material. Here, you read what's in this book, and you recite it back to me. And your ability to do that is what's going to get you a reward. You'll be rewarded based on your ability to learn the information that I tell you to learn and repeat it back to me. And that's the school system for you. Bada boom, bada bing. And I could never do that. You know, read what's in this book. Why? Because I said so. I heard you say so. I'm very aware that you said so. But why? What? Give me a reason why I need to learn this. Nobody could ever provide me with a legitimate answer. Now, if you could provide me with a legit answer, like, oh, okay, well, one of these days, you're actually gonna need to use this information in life. Let me point to you something in life that this information is gonna, like, you're gonna need this information. You can prove it to me? Okay, all right, well, I'll get to digging in and I'll get to figuring this out then, but you can't do that, you know, just learn it just because I said so. Nah, nope, sorry, I can't. Even if I try, I can't do it, you know. Always been that way. But I can, for some strange reason, I can sit there with a tarot card guidebook and memorize all the meanings of these things. I can learn these things, you know. I can learn this shit right here, but, you know, all that other stuff, the history, probably because the history was a lie. That's probably why. Like, that was probably my intuition telling me that's bullshit anyway. They're lying to you about the history. They're lying about that, you know? That's probably what it was, you know, but I can memorize this, but not a history book. You know what I mean? Anyway, though. Anyway. It is about time for me to get up out of here, y'all. Oh, I love these chats in the morning, man. I love it. Gets me, it's a good start to the day. It gets me pumped up and amped and ready, you know? I'm thinking about, oh yeah, so for those of you who are here for the yesterday's chat, I'm thinking about some sort of general and career readings I'm going to experiment with today. I'm thinking about it, like some sort of general and career. I got to thinking about it a little bit more yesterday. I haven't looked at any other tarot card readers or anything like that, you know. But I might do that. I might see like how our career readings even laid out. I don't even know. But I'm thinking about doing some more general stuff, you know. So I might, don't hold me to it as a 10,000% promise, but I'm like 90% sure that today I'm going to be just experimenting with some things on my main channel. Break up the monotony a little bit and change it up a little bit. You know what I mean? I just, like any other job, you just do the same thing over and over and over and over, day in, day out. It gets kind of boring. And, you know, I'm sure you all wouldn't mind seeing something a little bit different. So anyway, that's what's on the agenda for today. Other than that, though, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and listening to me run my mouth. I'm out of here. Y'all enjoy the rest of your day.